Hello and welcome to RIZEN Pro Wrestling, and this is the second RIZEN Hype Show. So welcome, and if you watched the first one for our last show, then thank you very much for rejoining us. And I'm Jonas from the Wrestling with Jonas podcast, and joined as always by my good friend and co-host, the general manager of RIZEN and the ring announcer, of course, Magic Martin. Martin, great to have you back on the Hype Show. Great to be doing one of these with you again. And we're looking ahead to a fantastic show, March the 22nd. But firstly, how are you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. And I'm very excited about the card that we have got. It is a stacked card, as it always is at RIZEN Pro Wrestling. And the show is very special because it does have some debut appearances as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's bring up the show poster, shall we, Martin? And there we go. Live Pro Wrestling, March the 22nd, and it's RIZEN a breakdown, and some fantastic stars, big names from across the UK, and British Pro Wrestling is red hot at the moment, and RIZEN Pro Wrestling is definitely on the rise and doing some fantastic things in the South Coast. But Martin, the last show that we had was a wonderful show, probably the biggest and the best show that RIZEN have ever put on. From Hamworthy in Poole. What is some of your fond memories and recollections from that show that leads us nicely into what we're about to see, March the 22nd with RIZEN Breakdown? But the last show was absolutely amazing, wasn't it? And such a variety of talent and action went down that night.
It certainly was an historic night, to say the least. Obviously, we had a brand new champion crowned. Bobby Vegas successfully challenged against Benjamin Stone and did win his championship by fair means and foul, as we will discuss a little bit later on. Of course, we had that incredible Hawaiian death match, which has an absolute first for British wrestling. And it was lovely to have you there behind the scenes as well to document all of the action.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to being there again on March the 22nd. But it was a fantastic show. And looking forward to another one from RIZEN. And like I say, it was a red hot crowd the last time we were there. And they absolutely jam-pack the St. Michael's Church in Hamworthy. And no doubt will have a red hot crowd once again. But you mentioned about our brand new RIZEN champion. And like I say, he did win by nefarious means over former champion Benjamin Stone. But the new champion, Big Money, Bobby Vegas, did have a word with me fresh after winning his championship. Let's have a little look to see what he had to say for himself. We're backstage here at RIZEN Pro Wrestling, and I'm joined by your brand new RIZEN heavyweight champion, Big Money, Bobby Vegas, and Ben Vicious. Congratulations, champ. How are you feeling after that victory?
I'm feeling good, but let me tell you this. No man is an island, not even Big Money. And Ben Vicious, hey, I know I paid you anyway, but you did a damn good job tonight helping me out, if you know what I mean. Thank you, man. You got to look for your friends when there's a challenge. And let me tell you, Ben Stone was a challenge. Got a lot of heart, very talented young man. But let me tell you, a challenge when the chips are down is something. So sometimes you got to buy me up more chips. And my chips were named Ben Vicious and Dan Rodman, and I cashed them in. And that's why I won. And that's why Big Money is the new RIZEN champion. You're welcome.
So big words there from Big Money, and we'll hear a lot more from Big Money, Bobby Vegas, your brand new RIZEN Pro Wrestling champion, a bit later on when we talk about his championship defense in the main event to our next show, RIZEN a Breakdown. But your thoughts on our new RIZEN champion, Martin? And like I say, definitely a big presence with Big Money, but he also has a few people who watched his back that night, but no doubt he is our new champion.
Now, I made it very, very clear that I was not happy with how Bobby Vegas even got into that match in the first place. It was not his match to have, and he laid down £10,000 and bought his opportunity in that match. And then he just kept flashing the cash. He came out with his own little henchman, this Rodman dweeb, and then it turns out he's got even more chips in the bag because he pulls out Ben Vicious. Now, Ben Vicious, in my opinion, is rising through the ranks very quickly here in RIZEN Pro Wrestling. And in fact, on the last show, he proved himself to be a dominant powerhouse. And to have that man in the pocket of Bobby Vegas, well, it was no wonder that Bobby Vegas won the championship.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about that main event a little bit later on, but you've probably noticed that we've got a fantastic new surrounding there. And just underneath myself and Magic Martin, you've got the very special QR code. So you can scan now, get your phones out and scan the QR codes. And the QR codes will be popping up throughout this hype show, but that will take you straight through to the site where you can get your ticket or tickets today. And of course, Risen Pro Wrestling, Martin, is a family show. All ages, bring your mum, dad, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, granddad, grandma. It is a family show and a variety show. So great for all the family. Just scan the barcodes now. You'll be transported to where you can get your tickets, or just go to wegottickets.com/RisenPW, or just go to any of Risen's social posts and click on the link that will be down there. But yeah, get your tickets today, and we'll be talking about 6 fantastic matches that have been announced already, and all the fantastic stars that will be before your very eyes in Hamworthy and Paul in St. Michael's Church. But let's talk about the first match, and the first match we have to talk about is this one here. And Jimmy Swift, one half of the Risen Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions, takes on Joel Redman. And we did have Joel Redman, who had words with us, who had a little bit of an interview with me backstage following his match at the last show. And maybe, just maybe, Martin, we saw a different side to Joel Redman. Let's have a look and a listen to what he had to say. We're backstage here at Risen Pro Wrestling, and I'm joined by Joel Redman. Joel, you suffered a loss here against Big Ben Vicious. How you feeling, my friend?
Jonas, I don't know what's happened there. I mean, that was in the bag. I mean, I challenged him. He's been pissing me off for a few months, and someone's got to teach him a lesson. So I called him out. I had an open contract. Any wrestler I want, so anybody I want. I knew exactly who I wanted before I even got here. And then when I see him attack Rudy Root like he did, that just cemented the fact for me that I wanted to get my hands on Ben Vicious. But I lost. I don't lose often, Ben. I haven't lost a lot of matches in my career. Definitely don't lose to people like you. That's a bit of a shocker. 38 next month, maybe I'm just getting a bit old. I don't know, maybe I'm getting old, maybe I'm getting tired, maybe I'm out of shape, maybe I'm a bit too slow. Or maybe, just maybe, I've been playing by the rules for 10 years and I'm sick and tired of playing by the rules, and I'm sick and tired of doing what the crowd want me to do and being the good guy and the superhero and everybody's English John Cena. Maybe it's time for me to be the bad guy. Maybe it's time for me to bend those rules a little bit, Ben. And when I bend those rules, I'm going to bend your back, and I'll snap your back, and I'll pin you. Risen Pro Wrestling. You think you're ready for Joel Redman? You think you're used to Joel Redman? You think you've seen everything you need to know about Joel Redman? Well, there's a hell of a lot below the surface, pals. And you'll find out very soon.
That is the first time that I have seen that side of Joel Redman. You know, he's normally the red, white, and blue guy. He comes out with the flags on his tights. This is a guy that appears to have tapped into something darker. And this is really interesting because, you know, we call him the benchmark of British wrestling. And one of the great things about Risen is we've given him the opportunity to showcase some of the up-and-coming talent of British wrestling. And this next match against Jimmy Swift is going to be really interesting because Jimmy Swift has been coming up through the ranks of the All-Star Wrestling Academy, All-Star South, and Joel Redman is the head trainer of All-Star South. This is very much teacher versus student. And this could be punishing. This could be almost a mugging. I think for one of the elder statesmen of British wrestling, this is a chance for him to say, no, I'm not washed up. You know, I'm not on the way out. I'm on the way to the top. And it looks like he wants revenge on Ben Vicious as well. And that's a, you know, he's already got one loss under his belt to Ben Vicious. I think he needs to get a win with Jimmy Swift to prove a point.
Yeah, I think this side of Joel Redman is scary. It's almost formidable, to be honest with you. So we know how good Joel Redman has always been throughout his very lengthy and successful career. But how dangerous is an amped up, angry Joel Redman? We will have to see. But we did have his opponent, Jimmy Swift, and like I say, one half of the Risen Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions, send us through his comments in the lead up to his match with Joel Redman. Let's have a little watch now.
March 22nd in Hamworthy, it's head coach versus student. It's sink or swim. It's Jimmy Swift versus Joel Redman. But firstly, it goes without saying, Joel, you know how much respect I have for you. You've done it all. You've made it to the big leagues. You've travelled across the world doing this. And I'd give an awful lot to have even half the career that you've had. And March 22nd is going to be the biggest test of my career, a year into the business. But maybe, just maybe I can use one of the techniques you've given me, one of the moves, one of the skills over the last year to use against you to pick up a win, to give me a chance, because a chance is all I need. So on March 22nd in Hamworthy, it's not going to be a case of, is Joel Redman swift enough? Because we know he is. It's going to be, is Jimmy Swift swift enough?
There we go. Is Jimmy Swift swift enough? The tag team titles, of course, won't be on the line, but he will be up against his coach, his trainer, the head coach of ASW South, and one of the very best in the country, Joel Redman. That is going to be a fantastic match, and that is available for anybody getting your tickets. Scan those barcodes. You will be there March the 22nd, Hamworthy St. Michael's Church in Poole, and you'll witness that match go down. Speaking of matches that you're going to want to be there to witness, Martin, what about this one here? And it doesn't get more crazy and more colourful than this triple threat match. Hawaiian Damien back again, this time in a triple threat match going up against Alex Connors and Frankie T. The last match we saw, that Hawaiian beach brawl against Jack Torino, was seriously one of the craziest matches I think I've ever witnessed as a fan in my 30-year plus fandom. But Martin, this one, let's say, I don't think there's going to be so many beach balls, or maybe there will be. But this triple threat match involving Damien, Alex Connors, and Frankie T, it looks like it's going to be wild and a lot of fun.
It's going to be really interesting because obviously with the triple threat match, you still have no disqualification, no countouts, and to some extent, no rules. But you've got a very interesting mix of characters there. Obviously, Hawaiian Damien, who's become something of a figurehead of the RIZEN pro wrestling universe, alongside Frankie T. He hasn't been with the company in over a year. It's great to have him back with us. He himself has got back into the scene, bringing his own company back on. But also, we've got the debut of Alex Connors. Now, I am not aware of Alex Connors, so I did my research, and he started off almost decades ago, training with Robbie Brookside. Robbie Brookside, one of the top trainers in the world, currently the head trainer at the Performance Center in Florida. And Alex Connors himself is now a head trainer. He's the head trainer of the Nebula Wrestling Academy, and he's a guy who clearly has technical credentials, but if you look on that poster, very, very unusual looking chap. He's known as the Inquisitor, and he certainly has a dark side about him, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and I know Frankie T is very technically proficient, but he can be as vicious as anybody, and it starts getting tasty in and around the ring. And of course, would it be in a triple threat? You know, there is this kind of wild, anything goes element, and of course, we all know what Hawaiian Damien is capable of. And I had the pleasure, or should I say maybe the misfortune, of catching up with Hawaiian Damien after his match against Jack Torino at the last show. Let's hear what Hawaiian Damien had to say. Oh. We've just seen a tremendous beach ball brawl here at RIZEN Pro Wrestling. Let me introduce to you Hawaiian Damien.
What are you saying, Jonas?
You were victorious over the girthy Rhino.
Jack Torino, the Rhino, little weird horny man. I'm the Alpha Predator, brother. Look at this shark. I went into that ocean, brother, and I grabbed him, I shook him all around, and I killed him with palm trees, bruv. Have you ever done that to someone? Have you ever killed a man with a palm tree? I don't think you have, Jonas. I don't think Jonas has ever killed a man with a palm tree. I have. Hawaiian Damien has. I'm the president of Hamworthy. And that lad is from Hemworth. Hemworth? Where's Hemworth, Jonas? Do you know?
I don't know.
Jonas, what's going on, bruv? Did you have a nice Christmas? You weren't in Hawaii. I invited you to my Honolulu. Is that what it's called? I don't know. I'm from Hawaii. Thank you very much. Okay.
I'm not sure even today that I fully recovered from that encounter with Hawaiian Damien. Every time I see that man, it just seems to get wilder and wilder. But his incarnation as a Hawaiian Damien is certainly out there. But that's going to be a fun triple threat match, no doubt. Let's talk about the next one, Martin, and it's going to be an unsanctioned match. Ben Vicious versus Benjamin Stone. And there is a bit of a backstory to this. But before we hear your backstory on these two individuals and how we got to this unsanctioned match, we do have this little video from what happened after the show at the last show. Here we go.
Come in. Ben, hi, commiserations.
Yeah. Did you see what happened out there? It took 3 men to rip that championship away from me. 3 men. Now I'm coming for big money Bobby Vegas. I'll have my rematch. But first, I want Ben Vicious. We used to be best mates, and out of the blue, out of jealousy, he's been jealous ever since I became champion. Okay? So in March, it will be me and Ben Vicious, whether you sanction it or not. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. We can have a street fight for all I care.
Look, I will make the match. Look, just bear in mind, Ben Vicious is on a roll right now. He took out Rudy Root. He took out Joel Redman. He's one of those dangerous men in RIZEN. And you're injured right now.
None of that matters. He hasn't taken on Benjamin Stone yet. Make it happen!
There we go.
Yes, indeed. And unfortunately, because he did have that injury, which got focused upon by Bobby Vegas, the man lost his title. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's going to be an interesting matchup. And Ben Vicious has been on a roll in RIZEN Pro Wrestling. He was very, very dominant, as we've just explained at the last show, having a victory over somebody with the credentials such as Joel Redman. And he did play a big part in Benjamin Stone losing his championship. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves an unsanctioned match, March the 22nd, from St. Michael's Church in Hamworthy. And the ramifications of this match, and especially with, you know, the potential, I don't know, outlawed action that we're likely to see with this unsanctioned nature. And of course, RIZEN, they've washed their hands of this. They don't want to take responsibility, liability for anything that goes down. We said earlier that this is a family-friendly show, but this is the one match where it could get quite nasty in and outside of the ring.
Now, I have spoken with the upper management and we have agreed to a hold harmless contract. So before the show begins, both men will have to sign this contract. That's an insurance waiver. That means that any injuries, any mutilations, they're completely off the books as far as RIZEN is concerned. The referee will be in the ring to simply call the 1, 2, 3 or call the submission. Anything goes, and hopefully this will end their feud for good. These men were as close as brothers once, and it's so sad to see them explode, but it looks like both men have got demons that they need to slay before they can move forward in RIZEN Pro Wrestling.
Very interesting. And I'm going to bring up that match graphic one more time. Unsanctioned match in RIZEN Pro Wrestling. I think it's the very first unsanctioned match that has been signed under a RIZEN Pro Wrestling banner. And like you say, you will have waivers to be signed before the bell rings, before the match, as Ben Vicious takes on Benjamin Stone. These two, they have a real beef. There's a real blood feud feel and atmosphere leading into this match, and another big time match that you can look forward to and that you can be there and witness in person. Just get your phones out now, scan the QR codes that are on screen. It will take you straight through to the website. We can get your ticket or tickets today. And like I say, it is a family-friendly show, but in that one, anything is likely to happen. I'm going to bring up the main show poster one more time, and there's all the details, some of the stars that we are yet to talk about, but RIZEN, a breakdown. Only £10 for adults, £7 for children. I'm sure there's a special price for families as well, but get yourself down there. And these sort of shows, especially when RIZEN Pro Wrestling are in town, they sell out very, very quick. So get your phones out, scan the barcodes, go to the website, follow the details scrolling along the bottom of the screen, or just click on the link that will be hopefully underneath this or in any of RIZEN's social posts, and it will take you there straight away. Of course, finish watching this first. You want to see what Jonas and Magic Martin has to say for themselves, and we've got 3 more matches to talk about, and the first of which is going to be this one here, a mixed tag team match featuring Sean McKenzie and Lily May taking on the Echoes of Darkness. Now, 3 of the 4 combatants have sent in videos for your viewing pleasure that kind of, it tells in their very own unique way their thoughts, their thought process leading into this match. But Martin, I know you know these 4 very, very well. What are your thoughts on kind of how we got to this match in particular, and featuring these 4 very talented young individuals?
I discussed this on our last show. In my opinion, this match was inevitable. You started off with the Echoes of Darkness of Sean McKenzie and William Corson. Those 2, they broke up in very acrimonious circumstances. William Corson himself was getting involved in the women's championship scene. Both Lily May and the Duchess were involved in that triple threat match, which crowned the champion of Lunatrix. It ends up with 2 men and 2 women with a strong beef. It only makes sense that we have ourselves a mixed tag team match.
There we go. Let's watch these videos. And yeah, here we go. First of all, William Corson.
March 22nd, Hamworthy, RIZEN Pro Wrestling. The Echoes of Darkness, myself and the Duchess return to take care of some unfinished business. Lily May, Sean McKenzie, you have been a thorn in our sides for such a long time now, and I think it's time that our differences were settled in the middle of the ring. And now that I'm back from my suspension, you know exactly that's what's going to happen. In the middle of that ring, you are both going to find out the true meaning of pain and misery as we take our vengeance for the victories you have stolen, the opportunities you have taken away. Your sins will be paid for, and your torment will be endless. And by the end of the night, you are both going to be lost in echoes. See you then.
Now, I made a promise to myself when I first started in this business that I would be able to defend the honour of British wrestling and British heritage from cheats and from cowards. And on March the 22nd, that is exactly what the shooter and the underdog Sean McKenzie are going to do to the Echoes of Darkness. Now, I am very, very, very sure that Sean McKenzie, he has his reasons as to why he wants to get his hands on the pair of you, but let me tell you both something right now. I am a catch wrestler, and that means I come into that ring and I look for a real fight, a real wrestling match, a fair competition. And Duchess, I am yet to get that from you. So, guess what? I'm going to take it. On March the 22nd, that is exactly what I'm going to do. The shooter is coming to St. Michael's Church looking for a real fight.
March 22nd, William Corson. I'm going to finally enact my revenge on you for what you did to me months and months ago. This isn't just going to be a standard tag match. It might not be the match that I wanted, but it's what I'm going to do to you that's going to count. Because when I step into the ring with you, I'm going to smack the ever-living out of you at RIZEN. And I'm going to leave you on that canvas, leave you for dust, and leave you with every single regret of ever turning your back on me.
Martin,
Wow.
we've heard from William Corson, we've heard from Sean McKenzie, we've heard from Lily May, but that is a very, very tasty mixed tag team match that we are going to experience and witness and go down on March the 22nd from St. Michael's Church. Your thoughts on what we heard from those individuals?
Well, the tensions clearly are about as high as they can possibly get.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know full well that obviously I had to suspend William Corson, I had to suspend Sean McKenzie. In the past 3 months, both of them have been training incredibly hard. William Corson, since Christmas, has probably put on a stone of lean body weight muscle. Sean McKenzie, best fighting shape of his life. William Corson, I think, has been training hard as well. I've seen videos of him down at the Rev Pro Academy. And if those guys can't straighten him out, nobody can. But the ladies, I know, are at the top of their game. This one is going to be a really interesting clash of styles, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, let's talk about Lily May and the Duchess. And Lily May had some very strong words for the Duchess. And no doubt when those two are in the ring, we're going to see some fantastic action. And Lily May, the shooter, is looking to show the Duchess a thing or two about catch wrestling and about what she is capable of in a RIZEN Pro Wrestling ring. And I know that these two have clashed before in that infamous triple threat match where Lunatrix came out on top as the new champion. But under slightly different circumstances, these two get a chance to go at it again.
I would love to see these two go one-on-one in the future. And we may well see that. Lily May's got this real kind of pit bull grit kind of style about her. The Duchess, who you'd think would be prim and proper, for her to turn very much to the dark side and join forces with William Corson, they seem like a clash of personalities, but it works for them. And I think we're going to see a really interesting combination of technical skill and also some heavyweight, hard-hitting action as well. So who comes out on top? Time will tell.
There we go. Get your phones out, scan them barcodes, buy your tickets today, and you will not be disappointed. March the 22nd from St. Michael's Church in Hamworthy Pool. It's going to be another fantastic show. We've already spoken about 4 of the 6 announced matches already. 2 more to talk about, but already I'm salivating at the prospect of those 4 matches alone. But let's talk about this one here. And we mentioned Lunatrix, the RIZEN Pro Wrestling Women's Champion, and she has probably her hardest opponent, her hardest challenger to date, and it's going to be this woman here. Succubus comes to Pro Wrestling and challenges Lunatrix for that gorgeous belt, the Women's Championship. And Martin, this is, you hyped this up in the ring at the last show, and obviously Succubus, a social media star, a social media sensation. But she comes to RIZEN Pro Wrestling as the challenger. She's got all this hype, all this fanfare behind her, but she's going up against Lunatrix. She is RIZEN's women's champion and a formidable champion. She has been from day one. But give us your thoughts, give us your insight into these two performers, these two wrestlers, and what sort of match are we likely to get? And are we likely to get a new champion?
Succubus is a really interesting story. I've been following her career since the very beginning because in the world of wrestling, there are some people who have really captured the world of social media. You think of Zack Ryder working his way up through the ranks. I think that Succubus may be the first women's wrestler to truly embrace social media and make herself a star because of that. She was documenting her first training sessions all the way through to her first match. So when she made her debut, she was already a superstar. In the past year, she's just gone from strength to strength. She's wrestled all around the UK, all around Europe, and has even set up her own academy called Nebula Wrestling, a real safe space academy for new up-and-coming talent. But they say in wrestling, you only become a better wrestler by wrestling better wrestlers. And Lunatrix has proven herself to be one of the best women in the south of England, arguably the whole of the UK. She's been champion everywhere that she has been. And she has not only won the championship here in RIZEN, she has defended the championship here in RIZEN. So I think this is going to be really interesting. You've got 2 ladies who look fantastic, move fantastic. And I think this could be almost a mirror match. And it really is a coin flip as to who is walking away with that beautiful winged diamond.
Absolutely. Now, I did have the opportunity to catch up with Lunatrix after the last show and after her successful championship defense against Armina Lily. Let's see a little bit worse for wear, but let's see what Lunatrix had to say for herself after her last title defense. Here we go. We're backstage here at RIZEN Pro Wrestling. Let me introduce to you your reigning defending RIZEN Pro Wrestling Women's Champion, Lunatrix, the delight from the Isle of Wight. But you don't feel so delightful tonight after suffering an attack in your match there against Armina Lily. But we look ahead, March the 22nd, and Succubus will be your next opponent, your next challenger for your championship. How are you feeling after that match?
Not fantastic, obviously, being hit across the head with my own title, but no matter what any of these girls do, I'm always going to be taking this home.
Any words for your next challenger, Succubus? And like I say, it'll be right here in Hamworthy.
Succubus, you better bring your best fight. I've got to sit down, Jonas, I've got to sit down.
There we go. She was feeling definitely worse for wear after her match and after that attack from Armina Lily. But she did tell Succubus to bring your best fight. And Succubus is going to have to bring her best fight, because I know Lunatrix, she's as tough as the toughest out there. She's as tough can be, and she's a fighting champion. And she's looking to come out of that show on March the 22nd from Hamworthy as still the reigning defending RIZEN Pro Wrestling Women's Champion. But Martin, after seeing that and everything we know about these two individuals, how do you think the match is going to go down?
I think this could well be one of the big viral matches. We found out that when we post women's matches on our RIZEN YouTube channel, they get more hits than any other. There is a huge hunger for women's wrestling on social media. And I think that if Succubus can pull out the surprise victory, this could almost put RIZEN on the map.
Wow. There we go. We'll have to see. And you can be there. You can see it will go down March the 22nd. The St. Michael's Church, Hamworthy. Scan the barcodes now and get your tickets. That's another match. The RIZEN Pro Wrestling Women's Championship will be on the line when Succubus comes in to take on defending champion Lunatrix. And will Luna end up the champion, or will she fall at the hands of Succubus? Will we see a new champion? Speaking of champions and speaking of championships, we have this one here to look forward to. The men's main event, the RIZEN Championship will be on the line. Big money. Bobby Vegas, we heard him. We saw what he was all about. Fresh from winning the championship at the last show. Going up against, speaking of champions, RIZEN Pro Wrestling's first ever champion, former champion, Roger Sears. Now, Roger did send us in a video to get us ready for this show and for this big main event. And March the 22nd, let's hear what Roger Sears had to say.
March 22nd, the history maker Roger Sears returns to RIZEN Pro Wrestling, the first ever RIZEN World Champion. And ever since losing that title, I've been asking RIZEN management to give me a one-on-one opportunity to win it back. And lucky for me, they've granted my request as I go one-on-one with the new champion, Big Money Bobby Vegas. Now, like Bobby said, we're making history right off the bat because this is the first time ever we will have stood across the ring from each other. But Bobby also said he's the odds-on favourite. Allow me to respond to you, Bobby, in a way that, as a gambling man, you'll likely understand better than most. You bet on the underdog, you stand a chance to win big. And that's exactly what I intend to do March 22nd. Win big. By beating you and making history once again by becoming the first ever two-time RIZEN World Champion.
For those of you who weren't previously aware, Big Money Bobby Vegas is the new RIZEN World Champion. And I'm looking forward to moving forward and elevating this title simply by virtue of the fact it's sat on my shoulder. But before I look to the future, it seems there's a challenge from the past to be dealt with. The first Risen World Champion, a former Risen World Champion, Roger Sears, wants to have another shot at the gold. Mr. Sears, the first rule of gambling, never chase your losses. This is a foolish move on your part, Sunshine, and in a way I admire your courage. Oh, yes, I do. But you see, it's a silly move to chase for this when I'm holding it, because the odds are not in your favour. I am the odds-on favourite. I bring everything I have to that ring every single time. So you better bring everything you've got, Sunshine. Because you and I have never fought before. You don't know what it's like to be in that ring with Big Money Bobby Vegas. You don't know what it's like when 320 pounds of Viva Splash Vegas crashes down on top of you. It's going to be a first for you. It's going to be a first for me. And it's going to be a hell of a fight. So bring everything you have. Because I only ever bet on me. March 22nd, Risen Pro Wrestling. And I am the odds-on favourite.
Martin, so Big Money Bobby Vegas defends his championship against the first ever former champion of Risen, Roger. But Big Money Bobby Vegas, he's very, very confident in his words there. And this will be a first-time encounter between these two. But for the fans of Risen Pro Wrestling, they're going to have a treat on their hands when these two clash for the first time, March the 22nd in Hamworthy. You must be looking forward to this one. And for a men's world championship match, it doesn't get any bigger.
This is really interesting. On a one-on-one match, you've got a super heavyweight versus a man who is genuinely in the best shape of his life. Roger Sears has been in that gym on a weekly basis, training on his own and training with his son in order to become the very best that he can be. It's wonderful to see the history maker come back to Risen and get another shot at the World Championship. There is no better person in my mind to be the first defense from Bobby Vegas. But Bobby Vegas doesn't come alone. Bobby Vegas surrounds himself with toadies. He flashes the cash backstage. So you're not just facing one man. You're facing at least two or three. So if Roger can maybe have a man in his corner, it might level things out a little bit. But one-on-one, it's going to be a really tough challenge for the man known as the main event.
I think that all Risen fans are asking themselves is are we likely to see a new Risen men's world champion at the end of March the 22nd? Can Roger Sears overcome the odds, to use a gambling term, and avoid Viva Splash Vegas, more importantly, with all 320 pounds of big money? But he is the underdog going into this. I think there's no doubt. He is a former champion, but he is the underdog, especially when you take into account the numbers game. And Bobby Vegas is all about the numbers games, especially with who may or may not be in his corner on March the 22nd. But the all-important question is, are we likely to see a new champion, or are we likely to see Viva Splash Vegas, a 1, 2, 3? Yes.
It does worry me that Roger Sears is calling himself the underdog. For me, that almost shows he's lacking confidence. I think that Roger Sears has proven himself to be championship material. He's not an underdog, he's a challenger. And could the challenger walk out with the championship? There is no better man, in my opinion, for that first challenge. Whether he's successful, only time will tell.
There we go. Well, you have to be there, ladies and gentlemen. Get your phones out, scan the barcode on screen, click on the link in the description to this, or just simply go to the website, wegottickets.com/RizenPW. So many different ways that you can get your tickets for this fantastic show, Risen Breakdown. And we've broken down the 6 matches there, and it's likely to break down in the ring and all around Hamworthy on March the 22nd inside St. Michael's Church. But let's have a quick glimpse at the 6 matches that we've already spoken about, and the 6 matches that have been announced already. Jimmy Swift versus Joel Redman. You've got the triple threat match, Hawaiian Damien versus Alex Connors versus Frankie T. Another fantastic, fun, colourful match there that will no doubt get wild and wacky around St. Michael's Church. Speaking of wild and wacky, this one is going to be unsanctioned. They'll both have to sign waivers before the match, but Benjamin Stone will be taking on Ben Vicious. And of course, these two have a storied past, especially after Ben Vicious was crucial in Benjamin Stone losing his championship to Bobby Vegas at the last show. This mixed tag team match, Sean McKenzie and Lily May team up to take on the Echoes of Darkness. And this one, as we already explained, as Magic Martin explained, has a storied history and a rivalry between these individuals. Then, of course, the social media sensation, Succubus, comes to RIZEN Pro Wrestling to take on champion Lunatrix for the RIZEN Women's Championship. What a match that's going to be. And could it be a viral match? And could it take RIZEN Pro Wrestling viral as well? And of course, we got Roger Sears, the first ever RIZEN Men's Champion, taking on big money Bobby Vegas, and who's very confident in his words, very confident in his ability. What a card. What a strong card. What a fantastic card. And 6 great matches to look forward to.
RIZEN Pro Wrestling is grassroots British wrestling. When I was coming up through the ranks of British wrestling, I went to shows and I saw the likes of Will Ospreay, the likes of Ricochet, the future stars of wrestling. If you come to a local show, if you come to a RIZEN Pro Wrestling show, you could well be seeing the next generation of British wrestling superstars. The next superstars to go viral. The next superstars to be appearing on a TV near you soon. RIZEN Pro Wrestling provides entertainment for the whole family and right in your lap. You will not get closer to the action than you will at RIZEN Pro Wrestling. So get your tickets in, come on down, have a fantastic afternoon of live wrestling entertainment.
Martin, I couldn't have said it best myself. I'm looking forward to seeing you and all the fans down there in Hamworthy, St. Michael's Church, March 22nd. Scan those barcodes, click on the links. More importantly, buy your tickets. But Martin, I can't wait to see you. Thank you once again, my friend, for being a fantastic co-host and giving us all of the insight to the wrestlers and the matches that we have to look forward to in just a few short days' time. But Martin, thank you very much, and I can't wait to do another one of these with you very, very soon, my friend. But for the meantime, I can't wait to see you at the show, March the 22nd.
We'll see you at ringside.